Now, before we start our discussion, let us bow our heads and feel the presence of the Lord our God, and the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving Father, Creator of heaven and earth, to you we come and ask for your guidance to light our path and to enlighten others also. And also, God, please guide our family to have a healthy um, body to support us in our daily living. This we ask in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay, so is anyone absent for today's class? Okay, it seems no one is absent for today. So again, welcome. And also, before we go to our discussion, we were going to have a review about what we have discussed yesterday. Okay, so what was our discussion yesterday? Very good class. So you really understand what we have discussed yesterday. Now we are going to have a little motivation. So what is ecosystem? Ecosystem is the surroundings where living creatures and us, including humans, um, live in, interact in, and also get our foods and etc. So now, what is interaction? Okay, so interaction is the approaches between two species, for example, a butterfly and a flower, and a fish and a bear, humans and animals and plants. That's our how we interact with them, how we approach them. That's interaction. If there isn't any effect or what so, then what is organism? Do you know what is organism, class? Okay, so organism is the living creatures. Also, us humans, we are called a organism also. Um, so meaning organism is the living creatures in a particular area living and interacting with each other. Okay, so our learning objective for this day is we're going to examine or tackle about the effects of the organism between organisms in their environment. How a butterfly helps a flower, how a fish helps the bear, and like that. Those effects. Okay. Then um, the topic will be focused on what are the effects are if it will harm, it will not harm, or it will benefit or not benefit a particular species or a particular species. Okay. Then, so as you can see in this figure, species A, species B. So these words posted here are the mutual relationships of every living creature in our planet. For example, benefit, mutualism, commensalism, mutualism, parasitism, commensalism, and competition. These are examples or the relationships of every creature or every living creature in our surrounding. But before we go there, let us not, we should first introduce these figures, okay? So now, when we say relationship between organisms, it means the increase also of their population and growth and development, they evolve and etc. So now let us discuss how they really affect one another. Okay, for example, mutualism. Here in mutualism, it benefits each other. For example, in a butterfly and a flower, a bees and a flower. Okay, now a bees pollinates the flower, which in case it doesn't harm the flower, but instead it helps the flower to bloom and also spread its pollens. Then, while the pollinated flower also helps the bees, so they both benefit in this kind of relationship in mutualism. Same with same with butterflies also. And in commensalism, this type of this type of relationship is that it benefits one but doesn't affect the other, or it has no effect on the other species. Then neutralism, it has no effect on one another. Both both species interact, but they doesn't affect one another, or there is no effect on each species. Then parasitism. Parasitism benefit one species but does not benefit the other species. Okay, possibly it will harm the other species. While for example, species B is the parasite, which is it benefits, and human when being with interacting with a parasite, the human will be in danger or be harmed. That's the relationship between the parasitism harms the other and benefits the other. Then let's go to commensalism. It has no effect on the other, but it harms the other. As you can see here, no effect and harm. So it means it has no effect on the other species, but harms the other species. Then let's go to competition. So competition both harms each other. For example, bear versus bear harms one another because of the competition between food, female, territory, and so on. So that's what competition means. It harms one another, dependent on what they are competing on. Okay. Since I have discussed already the concept of this discussion, now we are going to have a little activity. Okay, I will show you video. A video. I want you to understand and watch it carefully, for we will have our um, analysis after the video presentation. So be vigilant, guys.
All organisms depend on others to survive, but some take their relationships with other species to extremes. When different species live in very close association with each other, it's called symbiosis. When this relationship is beneficial to both organisms, it's known as mutualism. Mutualism can be seen in most ecosystems and between all sorts of organisms. Plants and fungi, animals and plants, or between different animals.
Okay, so you have already watched the video. So what did you see, or what happened in the video? Is there interaction in the video you have seen? Relationships became more intricate and independent when every species helps and harm each other. But sometimes the established relationships between these organisms is disrupted because of the introduced new species, which destroys that relationship or disassembles that relationship. That's why sometimes um, species organisms evolve and to continue survival and their species they must evolve because there are some disruptions in their ecological system or the ecological relationship of each organism. Later, I will show you a pictures and I want you to identify what kind of relationship or interactions it is. If it would be mutualism, commensalism, parasitism, neutralism, amensalism, or competition. Okay, so later. Then okay, class. So this shows a neutralism of the relationship between organisms. Then this one shows parasitism. You're very correct, guys. And now, yes, you're right. That shows mutualism. Okay, this is yes, competition. This is a competition relationship. And then this is what? Alright, that's commensalism. And this is mutualism. You're very great at this, guys. A little bit of evaluation to have to test how far you have understand about our topic. Okay, this test is all about a true or false test. And I just want you to write true if the statement is true and false if the statement is false. For your evaluation, direction, true or false. Write true if the statement is true and false if it is not. Number 1. Parasitism and predation have both effects on one species while harm to the other species. Is it true or is it false? Number 2. Algae causing death to different species of fish is an example of amensalism. True or false? Number 3. Commensalism is an interaction that benefits one species and neither benefit or harm the other. Is it true or is it false? Number 4. Competition is an interaction of organisms that causes harm to both organisms. Is it true or is it false? Number 5. Mutualism is an interaction which both organisms benefits. Is it true or is it false? Let me now pass your papers. We count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, 5. Okay. Now, for your assignment, with the help of your parents, I want you to pick one type of relationship within organisms and describe its effect and also list down samples and some pictures of the chosen interaction between organisms. That's all for today, class. Thank you and goodbye.